Diddy is heading to prison, and even former Mafia figures want nothing to do with him. Ex-M mob bosses have stated that Diddy will be a target behind bars because of his alleged treatment of women, predicting that his time in prison will be pure torment. Reports claim he was attacked by inmates during a previous stay, leaving him terrified of what's to come. The facility where he'll serve his sentence has already been chosen, but according to insiders, Diddy believes he has a plan in place that could see him released in under a year.
I mean, what this guy did is disgusting. I don't think there's a person alive, a man or a woman, especially women, who are not going to hate this guy. Whatever he did was completely disgusting. It's beyond criminal. I don't even know what it is. I look at it like he disgraced everybody. He disgraced the black race by being a black man. I know a lot of black people, and they hate him for it because it painted a picture towards all of them. I think it's being followed all over the world. If he's not found guilty, or he's cut free, or he does a short amount of time, I mean, I can only imagine what the whole world would think. This is a disgusting country.
Diddy's 50-month sentence is nothing short of a joke. The only reason he walked away with such a light punishment is because he's been cooperating with the feds. Suge Knight called it months ago. He said Diddy's cozy relationship with the government would eventually show itself, and now it has. The intel Diddy handed over is clearly paying dividends, protecting him from the full weight of justice.
Always a great day for the family. Overall, though, not surprising. We do all know one thing, like I said before, Puffy has strong ties with the government, feds, and anybody else who's been cooked, done. I mean, that's the first time in history that a person's going to get sentenced, and they can actually put on a campaign like they running for the president of the United States, where they can show videos, pretty much everything. Only thing I was waiting on was the fact that I was waiting on him to bring out the DJ, start playing music, and let him do what he do best, dance and shake that ass, and end up with no time. And the other side of it is that, the sad side of it is that I couldn't believe that not one of his baby mothers came in to supporting or testifying. And I was surprised by that because that shows a lot about the character. I still think it's fair that Puffy got less time because the other people who's involved in this case, other executives, other people, they didn't get punished at all. They walked away untouched. So in society, there's the fair side, there's the bullshit side.
Rumors are swirling about a possible pardon, and Trump himself has confirmed that Diddy reached out to him requesting one.
President Trump says Sean Diddy Combs has asked him for a pardon.
I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
Combs is serving a 4-year sentence in a New York City jail on 2 prostitution-related charges. Attorneys for Combs have not commented on President Trump's remarks.
But Diddy's treatment of women is inexcusable, and life behind bars won't be easy for him. The only thing he has going for him now is his money. Former mobster Michael Franisi pointed out that Diddy can use his wealth to buy loyalty and protection. After all, he's practically a billionaire. And in prison, money can buy a lot, including safety.
A senior White House official declined to comment on, quote, speculation and told us any decision on pardons would come from the president himself. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said he has not talked to the Trump administration about it. You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of a pardon?
I think he knows I'm not political. We've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said.
How are you preparing him?
So, I tell him what the guidelines are. And the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell them, the judge could go above the guidelines.
Do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. Not really.
You call the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura said she was physically abused and became addicted to drugs because of Combs.
I think that's what makes it. The really vehement. And I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her.
Cassie Ventura's attorney told us that Agnifalo's description of the relationship is a, quote, complete disgrace and affront to survivors of domestic violence. Now, we covered a lot more in this interview. Agnifalo said that he talks to his client just about every single day. He told us that Combs is focused on his family and wants to one day get back into performing at Madison Square Garden. This interview was about an hour long. He also told us that Combs did want to testify. Obviously, he did not.
Commenting on Diddy's RICO charges, Meehl suggested that many of the people who attended Diddy's parties likely received immunity in exchange for their cooperation. Diddy's right-hand woman, Christina Kororum, who was allegedly in charge of recruiting the women Diddy exploited, somehow escaped any charges. Reports have also confirmed that at least 3 witnesses in Diddy's trial were granted immunity.
His business is the enterprise, and the people that work for him were part of the conspiracy. So maybe they're unindicted co-conspirators, and they got immunity because, like Michael said, on my indictment, it said the United States of America versus, and then there was 8 names. And we all conspired to commit crimes. Diddy's alone. Who did he conspire with? Did he conspire by himself? Did he extort people? Yes, he did. Did he kidnap people? He held them against his will? Yes, he did. He brought people across state lines, which is a federal offense. But to be a RICO just on him, it's hard for me to understand how that happens.
Yeah, and I do think that, listen, we got weeks and weeks left of just the prosecutor's case, but already we've seen one of the assistants who said he got immunity. And my feeling is that his second in command, Christina Corum, either she's going to plead the fifth or she's going to have been offered immunity or use immunity for her testimony. I do think you're right. It's kind of confusing without the conspirators, but my feeling is that right now, to get the testimony against the guy at the top, they may be offering them immunity. But like I said, we still have to find out.
Even with all his money, there are still people who will come after Diddy. His abuse of women isn't something inmates overlook. During his sentencing, Diddy's lawyers told the judge that he had already been attacked while held at the Metropolitan Detention Center. However, Diddy chose to keep it quiet, fearing that speaking out might make him an even bigger target.
He didn't beat up and kill girls all the time. Do you see a big difference here with the kind of behavior Diddy's accused of doing compared to the behavior of mobsters?
Oh, absolutely. Let me say this. I always take the position, someone's innocent until proven guilty. That's just my position all the time. However, we have seen certain things. I think everybody has seen the hotel video where he was obviously beating her up. And the testimony has been absolutely despicable. And nobody in my former life would ever approve of something like that. And I think Anthony will vouch for that. We didn't beat up women. We didn't do things like that. We were taught to respect women in a big way, especially our families. So, in our life, if you violated another made man's wife, daughter, sister, mother, you're in a lot of trouble. So we didn't stand for that in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, the acts that are being described here are disgusting, despicable. If somebody like that was in our former life, he wouldn't last, quite honestly. And again, I would love to hear, I believe that the defense is going to attack the RICO statute here. You said, possibly there are witnesses that have been given immunity. Not possibly, 100%. That's how government builds cases. They go after people, they get them to cooperate, they give them immunity. So like Anthony said, there's probably several unindicted co-conspirators here that all decided, hey, we're not going to take the fall, we're going to cooperate. going to testify, and that's why they weren't indicted. So I would believe what Anthony said, that, they're going to use the theory that you said, that the whole, Bad Boy Records was a criminal enterprise. He was at the top of it. He used these other people to implement his criminal schemes, and that's how they charged him with RICO. But these acts are just, the real question is, how did this go on for 20 years? 20 years this was going on. A guy as high profile as that, and I've said this before, and nobody gets charged for it. It's allowed to continue for 20 years. There's no question that people knew that this was going on. There were high profile people involved. How does something like this go on for 20 years?
Diddy's legal team has also requested that he be placed in a low-security facility with a specialized drug rehabilitation program. If things go according to plan, Diddy could end up serving only about a year behind bars. The program allows inmates to have up to a year taken off their sentence if they can prove they were struggling with drug addiction at the time of their crimes. However, given Diddy's history of violence, there's still a chance his application could be denied.
Yeah. Is he safe, though? Did you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say, Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe, because in court, we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course, they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is.
Right.
They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teeny Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being in court. And we can and just attacks on his life, because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize, and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks, and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it out of
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like, he's looked at as a trophy in jail. It's crazy.
I have you. I only have a little bit of time left. I got to switch gears real quick to Diddy. So he is asked to be sent to a low security prison out in New Jersey, for where he will serve his, prison term. 4 years, served already 1, so 3, maybe out in 2.5. Do you think he's going to get that request? Do you think he's going to serve it at this low security prison in New Jersey?
It seems like the logical place for him to go. I mean, you've got, based on all of the factors and everything else that goes into the Bureau of Prisons, when they get the file, so to speak, they get the PSR, which is the pre-sentence report. They have a certain criteria, and a lot of that criteria has to do with geographic location and then the severity of the sentence and the charges. All of that would tend to lean towards the placement at this New Jersey facility. So I would say on a bell curve, 80% shot.
And chances he has a successful appeal, either a new trial or the sentence being adjusted?
I've had this argument with his team and people not on the team, and I don't want to reveal the work product, but I will tell you my reaction to this sentence was that because the judge accepted the sentencing guidelines and then went under it, and he accepted the sentencing guidelines that probation said, which was 70 to 87, I think, but went underneath at 50, it makes the appeal on the sentence tougher. I still think there's a whale of an argument on the Mann Act itself as applied, that the idea of having a prostitute cross state lines in order to film them and not have, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that's what the code section was designed to prevent.